There was a day I came home from work. It would be a long day, and when I walked through the door, I could see my wife was lost. There was so much to be done. Kids' baths, dinner, laundry, no time to sit and breathe after a hard day at work. I was already filled to the brim, and then I was asked, you need to do more. In that moment, I had nothing more to give. And I remember standing at the kitchen table, folding laundry, just my heart being crushed. I had no more. This was meant to be my safe space, and all I wanted to do was run away. I needed help, but where to turn? They say when you open your mind to new things, what you're looking for will appear. You just have to be astute enough to look for it. Well, not astute, you have to be open to receive. One day I was listening to a radio program and they had a psychologist on, and she was talking about people being overwhelmed. And the way she explained it was, think of yourself as a glass of water, and that glass of water can only take so much. So through the day, that was an absolute aha moment to me. It made complete sense. I've only got so much to give. And the glass of water was the perfect metaphor for me. In my last video, I talked about 3 things that drive dads to anger. And the first one, being overwhelmed, was one of the most important. Most person anger focuses on the moment. It focuses on that moment and the tools that you can use in that moment, or how to deal after the explosion. That advice isn't wrong, but it's like trying to mop the floor after flood while the flood's still happening. It's just not going to work. The real question isn't how I stop myself when I'm about to yell. The real question is, how do I stop myself from being overwhelmed? Because here's what's true. On a good day, when you've slept well, and you have a good day at work, and you have a good drive to work, and everything's great with your partner, you walk through the door and you almost trip over your kid's shoes. No big deal. You pick them up, you put them aside, and everything's good. That's when your glass isn't. On a bad day, you didn't get much sleep, you had a big fight with your boss, you're arguing, having disagreements with money issues with your partner, you're cut off in traffic, not once but twice, you're stuck in traffic, it's all filled your cup. You walk through the door, bang, you trip over your kid's shoes. This time, because you've got no tolerance left, because your glass is overfilled with water, you explode. You're not screaming at your kid because they've changed. You're the one that's changed. You're the one that doesn't have any more tolerance left because your glass is full. The trigger with the shoes didn't cause you to go. It was the overflowing of your glass. So here's a glass of water. As you're going through the day, things happen. Little drips. Big day, stressful day, cut off in traffic, walk through the door. Oh no, tripped over some shoes. You don't. Can't be helped. So you are that glass of water. Most dads, without even realising it, are walking through that door at a 7 or 8. So it's only taken 1 or 2 things to set you off. And then you yell, and your kids look at you as if you're a monster. And you don't know any better. You're trying to deal with it the best you can. Because the shoes, they don't deserve that kind of thing. And it's not the shoes, it's you trying to cope with everything else that's happened in that day. So the goal, and this is the whole thing, the goal is not to be calm in the moment. The goal is to have your glass at a 3 So when you walk through the door, you can tolerate the shoes on the floor. You can tolerate the talking back. When your glass is low, your kids can't fill it up because you're a lot more tolerant. You're not overwhelmed. So we had 5 things here. First one is work and provider stress. You're out all day at a job you may not like, working for people and with people you may not like. That's just filling up your glass. So these are the 5 things that fill up your glass. Number 2, poor sleep. This is actually probably the biggest one. If you don't get enough sleep, you're starting your day off already at a 4 or 5. So imagine that. Then you go to work, you have a bad day at work, and then you get cut off in traffic, and you might have other stuff going on as well. Number 3, the drive home. On the drive home, if you've had a bad day and you get cut off or you don't have time to decompress, just to process what happened at work. So that's setting you up to be at that high level. 4, family tension. Stuff has to be fixed around the house. How are we going to pay this bill? How we get to the kids' football? All this extra little stuff that can play on your mind. And 5, the slow drips, the news, the bad news. All news is bad. Well, not all news is bad, but bad news sells. So that's what gets broadcast on TV. Social media, doom scrolling. That's another one. Drip, 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 just filling up your glass. Now, the other side of that is 5 things that can empty your glass. So you're not going to be overwhelmed at the end of the day. 1, have a good night's sleep. That's the biggest reset that you can have. Is you have a good sleep, 7 or 8 hours, that just empties your glass right down. So you might have to look at what things you need to remove from your life to make sure you get a good night's sleep. Number 2, the wind down after work. Just sitting for 5 minutes in your car, even before you left work or just around the corner from your house, just breathing, just calm you down. Number 3, physical release. Your body holds on to cortisol and adrenaline, all the things that pumped you up during the day. A walk around the block, a run going for a run, doing push-ups, any physical exercise will get some of that stuff out of your system. Number 4, cut the news. Stop watching news. Stop watching things that that tick you off. And you might not even know they actually tick you off until someone brings it to your attention. Social media is another one. Delete your social media apps. If all that's on there is stuff that gets you rolled up, just get rid of it. And the final thing is a 60-second circuit breaker. Now, this is the last resort. When you haven't been able to keep your glass at a 3 or 4 and you're at an 8 or 9, just need to know that when you're a moment and something you go to yell, that's when you take your 60 seconds. You take a break. You say, well, you realise it, walk away, do box breathing. So box breathing is 4 in, hold for 4 seconds, and breathe out for 4 seconds. As you're doing that, focus on the feeling on your skin, because that makes you present and brings you more into focus on that. It gets away from the fight or flight. Understanding this model is one thing, using it is another. I build a tracker to help me keep track of what things are filling me up and what things are filling out my glass and emptying out my glass. And at the end of the day, you can write down 3 things that either filled it or emptied your glass. What it does is it makes the invisible visible. You stop guessing why you exploded on Tuesday, because now you know. You start seeing it clearly. Bad sleep, working with people you don't like working with, commute to work. Find a way to reduce these things. The tracker shows you the pattern and the habits are fixable. So here's one thing you can do tonight. Write down one thing that filled your glass tonight and one thing that emptied your glass. That's it. Awareness comes first. And once you're aware, you can start changing. There is a link in this description for the free blast tracker. Download it and use it tonight. The daily blast tracker is also available in my ebook, which will be in the links below, along with other useful tips that will help you manage this anger that you have, or manage the things that build up for your anger. If you want to go deeper, I'm creating a paid course. And if you're interested in the course, that'll be in the links below as well. I'm looking for a few dads that will help me flesh this out in. Stay tuned to the next video. I'll go through the generational, you don't know what you don't know, and you've been shown what you only know off what you've been shown, which not a lot of people know this level.